Late Chief Apostle Schmidt would say, "Gibt's denn sowas nu?" Is can something like that? Oh, yeah. Yeah. They reserve themselves. My house is for me and for my children. I have my time when you can call me. Come on, balderdash, nonsense. I could say a few more choice words. I would love to say them, but then these microphones here, they will sort of sparkle a little bit, and then the sound gets all garbled. Come on, brothers, go and straighten it out. Then shall thy light break forth as the morning. Just imagine our light. What is light? The activity of our ministry is the light of this world. Just imagine what wisdom, what teaching, what enlightenment, what enlivenment will come out. When the sun comes up in the morning, it pushes all the darkness back. The congregation will go on cloud 9, they will walk home from a service. And thine health shall spring forth speedily, the physical one and the spiritual one. And thy righteousness shall go before thee. The glory of the Lord shall be thy reward. Then shalt thou call, and the Lord shall answer. Some little while ago, a brother came and couldn't find a successor, and he looked sort of accusingly at me. I didn't find anybody to take my place, as if I was at fault. I said to him, just because you can't find a successor, that doesn't mean we can't find one. And we did, from far away. Thou shalt cry, and he shall say, here I am. There will be no such thing. If it takes a little longer, it's his privilege. If thou take away from thee the midst of the yoke, the putting forth of the finger and speaking vanity. And Romanians say, who's like unto me? Huh? What they do to the honor of themselves and not to the welfare of the Lord. When I look at you mothers here, tell me, my dear mothers, when you consider all that you did for your children, didn't you do it for their benefit, for their blessing, for their maturing, for their health, for their rearing? Did you do it for your own vanity? No. You barely got a thanks when they got married. I've been at weddings already where the young couple barely knew how to say thank you to father and mother for what they had done for them. I thought, oh, you poor parents, you barely knew how to say thank you. And the parents had done it for what? For their own welfare, but the parents did it anyway. And if thou draw out thy soul to the hungry and satisfy the afflicted soul, then shall thy light rise in obscurity and thy darkness as the noonday. And the Lord shall continually guide thee and satisfy thy soul in drought. Sometimes we have drought in our own soul. The joy is missing. The zeal is missing. The strength is missing to carry on. That's a drought. Sometimes we have drought in our daily life. Sometimes we have drought of peace in our family circle. He will say he will satisfy your soul in drought. And make fat thy bones. Yeah, somebody may say, hey, that's one problem. We don't want to have this. No. Bones is not flesh. You know what bones is? Is the structure that carries you. That's what he makes fat. Strong bones. And thou shalt be like a watered garden and like a spring of water whose waters fail not. And they that shall be of thee, just imagine, of these, shall build the old waste places. I've often heard the comment here that, that congregation was always a weak congregation, and that family was always a weak one. He says, you shall build the old waste places. You shall build them. Just because they were, does it mean they have to stay that way? You know what creates a desert? The absence of water. Maybe the one who was there before was not an outlet of the life of water. That's why there's a drought there. And if somebody goes there and brings, as we said before, the word which is given to him, then he becomes a fountain of life. And where there is water, there is an oasis. That's how it works. Don't come up with all these other excuses about the predecessors. Those poor fellows are in eternity. They look back now too and say, man, I wish I would have done it differently. Can we not and shall we not make it right? Thou shalt be, he says, thou shalt raise up the foundations of many generations, of those that have gone before us. And thou shalt be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of paths to dwell in. But now comes a lulu, but I'm going to touch it anyway. If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, just imagine, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day. What is your pleasure? Or some of you may be looking at your watch now, hey, come on, Wagner, cut it short. And 2 o'clock is a football game. I want to get there. We face reality. Does that put an indicator on in your soul? Does the one and the other serve on a Sunday morning and visit the sick in the hospital, serve them communion, but cut it short, quick, got to watch. Something going on TV, I got to get there. Come on, brothers, those are realities. Those are realities. If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day. And today many such pleasures take place, but this has not changed, brothers. And call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of the Lord, honorable, and shalt honor him, not doing thine own ways, nor finding thine own pleasures, nor speaking thine own words. Then shalt thou delight thyself in the Lord. Just imagine. And he says, and I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth. Huh? He will elevate you. Certainly when somebody is elevated by our Heavenly Father, then you've got another problem. You know what that is? Then they start to get envious of you. Right? When you had nothing, they feel sorry for you. When you have something, they envy you. But where the district apostle and my parents come from, they have a simple saying, better they should envy you than feel sorry for you. What counts?